beautiful astrology soulmates, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of June 21st, where it is a busy, energetic, cosmic week up in the sky. We've recently just come into summer and the planets are on the move. Lots of conversation up there in the sky. So let's get right into it, okay? Right here on the 21st, as we're coming into the week, we've got Venus traveling in a trine with Neptune. So we've got Venus who's here in the energy of Cancer and Neptune who's over in the energy of Pisces. Now they're going to meet their trine together and work together, have this energy of ease and opportunity together at 23 degrees. When Venus and Neptune come together, I call them the Bopsy twins, right? Because things can be so bliss. Oh, it's so bliss, it's so good, it's magical. Now, I will tell you, if you design things or you create things, let's say that you are a gardener or you design food or you do interior design, whatever you do when you design things, these two together gives you this magical sparkly eye that is just like, wow. Now, I love this in the Cancer Piscean energies. If this is the time where you are cleaning out your house, redecorating it, making it really feel good and inspired in your own space, I absolutely love that energy. Now, if you're out and about doing life, letting your shoulders be out, I also support this because it is an energy of, yeah, it can make it all feel like it's just so good. So you do have to be careful of the delusion. You do have to be careful of the rose-colored glasses, but ultimately they offer you a pocket of opportunity of like romantic energy. And romance doesn't have to be pointed at romancing other human beings in a sexual way, but it's like you're romancing your life. It's like this beautiful opportunity to pause and look at the house and the home that you have and say thank you. Find the gratitude. Find the brilliance in what you have, and if you absolutely cannot, begin to make the changes or be willing to make the changes that can bring that into alignment. But man, what a magical day to bring that gratitude, an attitude of gratitude to your table here, okay? When we get to the 22nd, we see Mercury coming direct. Thank you very much. Okay, Mercury has been in retrograde since May, since the end of May. Now we've done our about 3.5 week tour, and Mercury is going to come direct in the energy of Gemini at 16 degrees. So make sure you're locating 16 degrees on your chart. Now, the stationing day and the stationing of a planet is when things are a bit complicated. So at the beginning of the day, when we're getting to the 22nd, and I would really even tip this into the evening of the 21st, the energy may just be a little bit less settled, a little bit less clear. I think things actually get a little bit more funky when the planets are stationing, which means they're getting ready to turn one direction or the other before they travel along their path. But now, as Mercury is coming out of retrograde here, Mercury is going to be still kind of slow. He's still moving kind of slow. He needs to have his cosmic coffee, get his life together, warm up to the realities of coming back into flow and into power. So yes, you can sign those contracts, especially if it's something new. You can make those deals, those negotiations, all of those things. You can do that with a bit more assurance as Mercury is direct here, but he's not back in full power like, yeah, I'm going forward until we get into July. So I just want you to keep that in mind. And energetically, if you're tapping into your own Mercury in your chart, if your Mercury is naturally direct, you may not feel that full boost of power until we get to July. And if your Mercury is retrograde, this might have been a really lovely time for you over this last 3 weeks where you felt like you were just living your best life, and that would have been because Mercury was in a similar vibration that you could have really breathed in. Either way, for all of us, just know that Mercury finds his forward flow when we get into July. On the 23rd, busy day. We've got the sun in a trine to Jupiter, who's just recently this last weekend gone retrograde, and we've got Cancer and Pisces energy on the table, okay? Now, we're also going to have Venus in an opposition, so across the street from Pluto, who is also retrograde. So I want to point out now, we've got Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto, who are all retrograde. So we are in that outer planet retrograde time, which is our indicator that the world is not going so fast out there. We're slowing down because the long-term lessons that we need to learn personally and globally, right now we have to go back over what we've seen so far and kind of tidy that up, okay? But now this is a day where even though Venus and Pluto are in that opposition, because the sun is in a trine to Jupiter, it's a very big, expansive energy to teach, to learn, to share your beliefs, to share your awakenings, to share your ideals with people. Attend a ceremony, right? Have ceremony in your house. These can be things that are absolutely a part of your everyday living at this time. I mean, there's a warmth, there's a generosity that comes when we're dealing with the sun and Jupiter getting together, especially in fellow water signs. Like, they're very happy about this particular energy. Now, this Venus Pluto opposition that I think sneaks in here during the day is that I think this does create a little bit of a relationship power struggle. Okay, but you're power struggling essentially over something from the past. We've already been here. We've already talked about it. Mercury's direct now. I feel prepared to look back at this situation and come up with a little bit of resolution. We need resolution because we can't keep talking about this. If that's what it looks like in your personal life and in your finances, you could have already seen that as well. Now, at a global level, I will tell you, I think that this Venus opposition here, in a global way, I do think it brings a little bit of this sense of, okay, as a world, as a community, we have got to review what's been going on for this last year. We've got to review what's been going on for this last handful of months, and we've got to start to see some compassion in it. And compassion doesn't mean that it looks one way. Compassion is we have to start to soften a little. We have to have a diplomacy. We have to start to see a little bit of balance. We have to consider, how do we bridge the gap between home and work? How do we bridge the gap between the feminine and that masculine energy balance? How are we bridging gaps around what we do at home and what we do in society? I think that this opposition in the world can feel like a very strong power struggle pull in that direction, and that can weigh on each of us. But this is also a great day with Jupiter and the sun there. We're growing in this world. We are all growing up in public as a country, as countries, as people, as family members. Speak well, speak wisdom, be willing to listen. And this is how I think we start to bridge the gap of some of these ideas that need to change as well, okay? All right, then we get to the 24th and we've got our full moon for the month. Now, the full moon says that something needs to be ended, acknowledged, or adjusted. Now, this particular full moon is also going to be in the energy of Capricorn. Now, we've just had a Venus opposing Pluto in Capricorn as well. Granted, this moon is happening at 3 degrees of Capricorn, so a bit of distance, but we can still see that it is in that vibration, okay? Now, because this is calling for adjustment, what was I just saying? We have to make adjustments. Now, Jupiter gets to play a very big piece in this particular moon, and I think he offers his wisdom up to where we need to make changes or like shed things in our structure. So in your life at 3 degrees of Capricorn, what is this showing you needs to have changes or adjustments to it? What's happening in your life and your world where you're like, oh, I need to go ahead and bring this to culmination. For some of you, I do think it will be this idea that we're not working from home anymore. Companies may be calling you back to work. How do you feel about that? What are your plans around that? Now, remember, just a week ago, we had a Saturn-Uranus square, right? So some ideas, some things that you valued have been shaken loose, have been stirred. And so what are we going to do when what has been is coming to a culmination? For many people too, this could be, because Capricorn's an earth energy, a changing or a culmination of something around resources. So this will be a very big full moon. I think it's a good full moon. I will tell you, I think it's a good full moon. There's a lot of wisdom. There's a lot of opportunity attached to this, but it is a big full moon where I think you have to consider in your structures, in your work, in the legacy, but also in the history and in the traditions of the way things have been being done in your home and in our societies. We're going to really need to take a look at that. Now, as we get to the 25th, we're going to welcome another planet into retrograde. Neptune will step into retrograde at 23 degrees of Pisces and will come direct in December, okay? Now, as Neptune takes a retrograde, Neptune floats and rolls below the level of consciousness. So it's always it's like Pluto. It's like an in and out wave. It's always kind of upsy downsy. So it can be very quiet in the background there. But I think as Neptune goes retrograde, my experience and the way that I explain it to people is that we don't have the benefit of easily accessible energy to numb anything, to even to escape or even to create. right? Because we have to create things sometimes over here before they become tangible objects. So when Neptune goes retrograde, things get really real. Like it's really real. This is life. This is the world. There is no dimming the lights, right? The light switch dimmer has been broken. Okay, so you may find yourself in a lot of places where you feel like, whoa, this is just concrete reality, no chaser. Like this maybe feels heavier. Now, I know that some people have described the experience of Neptune as feeling like you're even more delusional, but I feel like that the delusion comes from that we don't have as much access to that in between the realms. So we're just so solidly in the everyday reality that we're like, wow, I can't kind of step out of it. So what I think is important, especially as all of these outer planets are retrograde, is to come home, recenter, but center yourself in a way that you feel safe, turning yourself and looking. Look back. Review the history of your life, your family, your people, your track record on this planet. With Neptune retrograde, are you meeting and fitting your ideals, or what adjustments can be made? Where do you need to celebrate where you've been and allow Neptune to bring some things to assimilation? Right? Where have you learned enough and you can assimilate that, hold it on, store it for your next set of wisdom that you can use in your life? I think it's a really lovely energy, okay? Now, on the 26th, as we're rolling into the weekend, Venus moves into the energy of Leo. Love big, love loud, love fierce, love generously, love with the best hairstyle you've got, but love with your heart out, with your chest out, with your shoulders back. Love Leo-like. Right? So let this be a big fire love that is available to you, okay? All right, my beautiful friends. Woo, that is enough, right? There is a lot going on this week. Lots of opportunities to take this at whatever level you need to take it at. If you are ready to experience this full moon at a deeper level where you are really looking back and digging through your history, do that. If you're ready to just look at your money and the structures and foundations in your life, do that. This forecast is available for every level that you're ready to take the suggestion, take the conversation, and process it where you need to meet that information. That's exactly what it's built for, okay? All right, my beautiful friends, I love you a ton, and I'll see you next week. Bye.